Okay, so let's take a look at a Galileo search and see what we find. I'm going to plug in the same words that I used on the Google search that we did a little bit ago. And I'm going to see how many articles it pulls up. And it pulls up almost 3 million sources of different kinds. And as you can see, it gives you media recordings. You get multimedia pieces here. Lots of books. I see a book, a book, a book. Lots of books. And I see, oh, that's an encyclopedia. You don't want to use that. But here's an academic journal. Here's a periodical, which could be a newspaper or maybe a more popular kind of magazine rather than a scholarly journal sort of magazine. But with that many hits and that variety of resources, I think I need to limit this a little bit more. So the first thing I'm going to do is go over here to the left-hand side where I can limit my search results a bit to first full text articles. I'd rather read articles than books, and I'd rather have things that are available right now that I don't have to order from somewhere. I'm also going to limit it to the scholarly peer-reviewed journals. So those are journals that are edited and reviewed by professionals in that specific field. Now I've brought my numbers down. I've cut it about in half here. I still have over 1 million hits. So I'm going to limit publication date to within the last 10 years or so. Okay, we're getting there, 650,000. Now I'm also going to limit by geography. And notice I didn't choose to limit by language because if I choose English, there is still a lot of countries out there that speak English, publish English, and all that. So I'm going to limit it to the United States because that's where I am. So now I have 24,000. That's not too bad. And as you can see, these are mostly academic journals. So let me take a quick look. You'll notice that we have these full text PDFs. That's the best source. Sometimes you'll get HTML full text and those are fine, but whenever possible, I like to go to the full text PDF and I'll show you why. When you pull up the PDF, it's a lot more like pulling up the actual journal itself. It's like a Xerox copy. So when I look at this, I can see the page numbers the same way they'll appear in the actual journal. So you can see this is 670. If you have HTML documents, they have no page numbers and they're not quite as easy to document simply because they're in HTML. And I like to stick to the source as close to its original as possible. Now I'm going to go back to where I was on that results page. And you'll notice I'm looking at these two titles. This one I know is probably formatted exactly right. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you can have Galileo do some of that work of formatting your reference page for you. So this is going to be an entry that you will put on your references page. Even if it's something like this, these are minor tweaks and I'm going to show you why. I'm going to click on the one that's done correctly right here. And I'm going to go over here on the right hand side. You'll see this great toolbar. You could actually create your own login ID, and when you come to Galileo you can have folders where you put information and save it. You can also email it to yourself so you don't forget the articles that you found. You can print them right away or you can save them on your hard drive. But right now I'm interested in citing it, so I'm going to click Cite. And it brings up all the different formats that I might use for citing this on my references or works cited page. And since I'm doing an APA paper, I'm definitely going to go look at the APA citation. All I have to do is highlight that and copy it. And then I can paste it right into my Word document or my Pages document and just tidy up maybe the hanging indent or whatever I need, and I'm good to go. So the reason I mention the title is that sometimes the titles are entered in the regular title case that we're so used to seeing for titles of books. But when you're using journal article titles, you only capitalize the first word in the title. The only other things you would capitalize would be proper nouns, or if there's a colon, the first word after the colon. Sometimes when these get entered, they just, I don't know who's entering them, but they just go into some default mode and they capitalize everything. So just double check that. Also double check that it's not in all caps. That means every letter. Sometimes I see the title or the names of the authors in all caps. So you just want to make sure you tweak that and fix that. So let me go back. I'll show you the other one that was done incorrectly. So if I click on this one and I go to cite it, you'll notice just like the entry looked, the title of it in the APA reference here, see how all the letters, all the major words are capitalized? That's incorrect for APA style. Only the D should be capitalized here, and US. And other than that, yeah, that should be just the D and the US should be capitalized there. So just look out for those sorts of things. Now, if we go back to our search, we've still got 24,000 hits here. Maybe we want to narrow our search a little bit. And when we first do it, it might actually give us more hits. I'm going to go to Advanced Search and give myself a window to put more keywords in. So let's say I want to look for child abuse of teenagers. So I put in the word teenagers. Or we could take its suggestion and put teenagers or adolescents. So notice my numbers went up again, but that's because it did a new search here. And so I can go back and limit it to full text articles and peer-reviewed articles and all of that as well. Now, another great thing about being in Galileo is I put in child abuse and teenagers or adolescents. What I might want to do, maybe I don't want teenagers, maybe I only want the little children. So I could choose to do it with not teenagers or adolescents. So that's going to give me some different results. It'll weed out anything that had teenagers or adolescents in the descriptor. So you can see why Galileo gets you a lot farther as far as scholarly academic research goes than Google does. Not that you can't use Google for some things, but Galileo can save you a lot of work and a lot of time by getting to the good sources right away and also helping you to document them.